All right, third video and final of the day, Jason at 4 Realist News YouTube. I was going to do another video about this trade thing between U.S. and China, but I was like, I don't want to. I saw a more outlandish theory posted on Zero Hedge by the head of the New York Fed, Mr. Dudley. And I think he is a dud based off of his thoughts here. This is a short video, and I thought, I got to talk about this. What is this idiot moron saying? Smartest guys in the room, right? With their $300-something thousand a year salary. New York Fed President Dudley, this is from Zero Hedge, of course, thinks a new housing bubble is a perfect cure for soft retail sales. We need a new one that'll cure it, is what he's saying. We're already in one, by the way. What are you talking about? But let's see what this is. So Zero Hedge says, in general, most people would agree that the housing collapse of 08 and 09 was a negative event in U.S. history. Yeah. What's that? Magic 8 Ball? What's the Magic 8 Ball? Was the 2008 and 9 housing collapse, was that a negative event in U.S. history? Most likely. Okay, we're on point. Thanks, 8 Ball. I had to reach out for you for a while. Appreciate that, buddy. A combination of misinformed regulations from Washington, D.C., of course, low interest rates, poor underwriting standards that allowed for, among other things, the idiotic cash-out mortgage, and an insatiable demand for securitizations drove one of the biggest asset bubbles in history, which almost brought down the entire global financial system. But at least one person, namely the New York Fed President, Mr. Bill Dudley, thinks that a repeat of the 2008 mortgage crisis is exactly the cure for America's stagnant retail sales. Speaking at the National Retail Federation's annual convention in New York, which was undoubtedly full of perplexed retailers wondering why their store traffic remained so weak amid Obama's stunning economic recovery, Dudley intimated that the cure for weak retail sales was a return to 2006 practices in which debt-thirsty Americans repeatedly withdrew every dollar of equity in their homes to fund their trips to the mall. Quote, the good news is that while the current expansion of quite old in chronological terms, it is still relatively young in terms of the health of household finances, Dudley said in a speech to the National Retail Federation. Whatever the timing, a return to a reasonable pattern of home equity extraction would be a positive development for retailers and would provide a boost to economic growth, Dudley said. Whoa, Dudley. Calling Dudley. Mr. Dudley. We had an official closure of the recession April 2009. That was many years ago. We've had growth. Obama has been patting himself on the back almost every day on live TV, telling you how good of a job he did. Unemployment's down 5%. So what are you talking about? What do you mean? Why do we need a boost to economic growth, Mr. Dudley? I thought everything was fantastic. Homeowners may have overlearned the lessons from the housing boom and bust, the New York Fed president said. Even though home values have risen over 40% since 2012, housing debt has stayed virtually flat, he said. The previous behavior of using housing debt to finance other kinds of consumption seems to have completely disappeared. And people are leaving the wealth generated by rising home prices locked up in their homes, he said. Well, you damn homeowners, locking up your equity and prices, release some of that to us. Go get a equity line of credit again. Don't worry, you don't need a job, you don't need to prove income. We'll do it all over again. No, the ninja loans, we'll give them to you. So you can take that money, go buy some new car, cash for clunkers, buy some new cars, go retail spending, stimulate the economy. Sir, he says, Zero Hedge says, sure, just forget that the last cycle resulted in millions of personal bankruptcies, short sales, in ruined personal credit scores. We're sure this time will work out much differently. Dudley continued by noting that at the height of the boom, annual consumption was being supplemented by around $400 billion in cash flow from debt, much of it collateralized by housing. Apparently, he is convinced that levering up on your personal life to such an extreme level that you couldn't possibly survive even a modest economic blip. Also, you can buy just 3 more pairs UGGs from the mall on that brand new credit card with a $500 limit. Brilliant idea. In order to be able to assess the evolution of household finances more precisely, we worked with Equifax, a major credit bureau, to create a new database that tracks the credit files of a random sample of households over time. From this consumer credit panel data, we conclude that between 2004 and 2006, households were increasing their cash flow by over $200 billion a year by borrowing against their housing equity collateral. They supplemented that with another $185 billion through non-mortgage borrowing. So at the height of the boom, annual consumption was being supplemented by around $400 billion in cash flow from debt, much of it collateralized by housing. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that he's saying we need to do the same thing over again so that people will go out and spend. Retailers, I'm sorry, because they're all, again, for major economic recovery, how come we're not seeing it? That's what they're crying. Where's ours? Where's our money? It's our money and we need it now. Well, it's tied up in these stingy homeowners, is what he's saying. The stingy homeowners are tying up all your equity. Not your equity, your profit, your money, your retail sales. So what? Do they actually think people are all of a sudden, in 2006, with housing once again at all-time highs, going to do what they did before? I think a lot of people learned their lesson. I think a lot of people learned, boy, that was dumb of me. I shouldn't do that again. Which means what? Which means retail sales. I'm sorry, that is incorrect. You will not be pass and go collecting your $200. You will be going straight to jail, so to speak. Because this economic recovery was nothing more than another set of fake news, fake numbers. What does the government always give us? Fake numbers. And then when the numbers look kind of good, breaking news, markets rally, great numbers today. A month later, 2 months later, as I always tell you, revision. Oh, those such and such numbers? Yeah. Listen, little revision. And as I've said numerous times, we're usually not that lucky, but sometimes lucky enough to get what I like to call a double revision. They'll do 2 revisions in one shot. Not 1 revision. We had to revise it again. 2nd revision. Double revision. Again, what the hell kind of data could you get in the beginning when you're making the claim of whatever the hell it is that you're making a claim of, numbers wise, and then you have to revise it. And for whatever reason, call me a conspiracy theorist, whatever reason, the numbers are always revised down. In other words, bad, worse than it should have been. Oh, we had a 250,000 print today on the jobless numbers. It's 2,000 more. We're expecting 248,000, and they printed 250. The market's like that news. Yeah, but back to you, Bill. And then a month goes by, revised down. It was only 205,000, well below the 248K they thought or needed. But you don't have Bob and Bill. Hey, but back to you, Bill. They're not there anymore. They're gone. They're not going to tell you, hey, Bill, it's Bob again. Remember last month when we were talking and I said that there was a print of jobless numbers for 248,000 was expected. We got 250. And you talked about how the market rallied. Do you remember that? Yeah, Bill, I do remember that. There's a revision today. Said those numbers aren't anywhere near there. It was only 205,000. Bob and Bill, if you like your jobs, you're not going to say that. Matter of fact, the people who give you what to say and put it in the teleprompter or in your ear through the earpiece, it won't even be there. Therefore, you won't even know it. You might remember the conversation you two had the previous week on your mainstream news channel, pumping these garbage numbers that were pumped up to look good, only to be revised down later, but you will not be getting that story today, and you get paid a lot of money to just read the script, or maybe you hear the script and say it in your ear. Either way, hear it in your ear, say it. Visualize it, teleprompter, read it, whatever. Whatever pick your poison. You want a teleprompter or you want the little earpiece? We'll put a little hair over, like the women. They get these women out there, like you see them on sports channels. They're talking to these guys about, how this player did, and that player, and, he's just started the season pretty slow, and, he probably ramp it up. And they got both, their ears always covered. Can't see their ears. You know why that is? I'm sure you do. Earpieces. These women couldn't talk about sports if their lives depended on it. So why are they doing that? Is this some kind of like mass brainwashing of women? You guys need to start watching sports now. Women of all ages. There's a pretty lady up there who knows her stuff about sports. No, actually she doesn't. She has an earpiece. She has no clue what the hell she's talking about. But go ahead with that story. We're going to run with it for now. So were they trying to get women to watch the NFL now? Most women might watch it because their husband has the game on and he says, honey, Sunday, I'm watching the game today at such and such time. Okay. If you want to spend time with me, sit by me, we can have some drinks, whatever. Okay, honey. That's usually how that goes. I know there's the occasional, extremely rare examples where there's a woman who knows her sports, talks sports, likes sports, etc. And the sports husband is absolutely in love with that wife because there's no other wife like her who knows sports. They can talk about it. He's in heaven. So, anyways, I'm J-Stem4, and I'm out. Have a good day, everybody.